In southern Italy, year 1347, a grubby little peasant became infected with a bacteria called Yersinia pestis, commonly known as the bubonic plague. It was imported on the Silk Road trade route from China and India, along with black pepper for the spaghetti bolognese. It quickly spread throughout Europe, maybe because people threw their own shit out of windows and thought hand washing was satanic, and by 1349, half of the continent had died. In this video, I'll explain what your life would be like during the Black Death. Let me know in the comments if you think it sounds like a laugh, or if you think today is a better time to be alive. You're awoken one morning in 1348 by a loud noise outside, during the height of the Black Death in London. You were up late having beer and cheese in the local tavern, so you're not happy. You open the door to see what all the noise is. It's the frustratingly loud sound of a horse and cart, carrying the bodies of the plague's latest victims to a mass grave. For all its faults, the Black Death was a very effective job creator, and if you weren't afraid to get your hands dirty with some plaguey bodies, you could make plenty of shillings as an undertaker.
Oh my God!
You decide to take your chances and work with them. There were no antibiotics or any medical care based on science, because medieval people relied on vibes and religion to cure their ailments. So this job was most likely a death sentence. Even if you survive, you'll probably have a bad back from carrying all those bodies, so it's a lose-lose situation. You believe that the plague is caused by miasma, otherwise known as bad smells, so you're not worried about catching it, because you've bought a big bouquet of pot-up flowers to cover up the stench. It's completely ineffective, but you look like a baddie, and it's giving you a nice boost of confidence, which you've never had before. The disease was actually caused by fleas, which lived on the many rats infesting the city, and carried the bacteria. They would bite people and infect them, and the disease spread from there. Parliament ordered cats and dogs to be killed, because they were believed to spread miasma, but this ironically made the rat infestations worse. While cleaning up the hundreds of people that died that day, you wonder why this plague is happening. One of the most popular theories was that God was angry, as always, and has decided to punish his loving subjects. To apologise to him, some people walked from city to city, whipping themselves, because that's what he would have wanted. This achieved nothing, but helped to spread the disease across England. You agree that this is probably the reason, but you aren't really into BDSM, so you just decide to spend more time at church asking for forgiveness. After your long day digging mass graves, you head back home and walk past a silly looking bloke dressed like a pigeon. He is a medieval plague doctor, whose job it was to visit victims of the Black Death and cure them. It's incredible that they didn't get sacked, because they were terrible at the job. He has a long, beaked mask on, full of herbs and spices to cover up the smells of medieval London. It might just look like fancy dress, but this was actually the best solution they had. The big nose did nothing, except look cool, but being covered head to toe prevented the doctors from being exposed to the bacteria which caused the plague. You make eye contact with the doctor. You've been in contact with infected bodies, he says. I'll give you a visit tomorrow morning. You're beginning to feel a fever coming on, but you don't mention it to the doctor. You carried flowers all day, and besides, it's been a few hours since your last beer. That's probably why you don't feel good. You get home and go to sleep. You wake up just like any other morning, in a cold sweat from your night terrace, and you give your balls a good scratch. Only this time, the cold sweat isn't caused by your childhood trauma, and your balls are actually your inflamed lymph nodes on your inner thighs, known as buboes. You've caught the bubonic plague. At least you don't have to go to work now. By now, the Yersinia pestis bacteria has been in your body for between 1 to 7 days, and you're beginning to feel its early symptoms. Aside from the egg-sized swelling on your thighs, the plague is just like a normal flu at this stage. You've got a fever, headache, and muscle aching, but nothing that will make you think you're going to die in the next few days, but you probably are. This disease progresses very quickly. The writer, Giovanni Boccaccio, said, "The plague killed so quickly that an infected person could have breakfast and lunch with friends and family, and dinner with ancestors in paradise," which is sad, but at least they ate well. You hear a knock-knock at your door. Who's there? Plague doctor. Plague doctor who? Plague doctor who said he'd visit yesterday. You let him inside and show him your big buboes. Covered from head to toe in his little pigeon costume, he begins to examine you. There's a wide range of treatments that the doctor can prescribe. The best treatments do nothing to help, and the worst ones will actually make you die quicker. so your choices are limited. You decide to start with a course of leeches, which are a type of blood-sucking worm which medieval people believed could cure diseases by removing your infected blood. Leeches are in such high demand that many women in the countryside would wade into lakes and allow leeches to bite onto their legs to collect them. They couldn't remove them until they were done sucking blood, or else they wouldn't let go and their heads would pop right off. So they had to wait until they were finished, which caused anemia and all kinds of blood infections. You have to respect these women for following their dreams of becoming entrepreneurs. Back in horrible London, the leeches have finished drawing your blood, and unsurprisingly, you feel worse than before. The doctor decides that it's time to move on to the next option, smearing human excrement into your blistering buboes. To make this a little more palatable, it will be mixed with butter, onions and garlic, perhaps a tribute to Italy, where the disease originated in Europe. As you lay on your bed, questioning why you couldn't have been born as a baby boomer in the 1960s, you begin to drift out of consciousness. It could be the plague shutting down your internal organs, or the soothing massage of the doctor's hands, but either way, you're looking forward to a nice sleep after a long day. "Oh, good morning," says the doctor. "I wasn't sure if you'd wake up." In all his wisdom, the doctor has decided to try another healing technique on you. He says that by holding the shaved arse of a chicken onto your bubo, the chicken will draw out the plague. When the chicken dies, the sickness has been transferred into it and the patient is saved. This sounds like it originated from someone who was caught shaving the arse of a chicken and needed a really good excuse. Nevertheless, this technique remained popular throughout the Black Death and was even used in later outbreaks in the 1600s. You're thankful that the doctor brought his chicken, because you're feeling a lot worse than before your sleep. The bacteria has now entered your bloodstream, leading to what's known as septicemic plague. This is the last stage, and it's when you start to get really freaky looking, like in the old paintings. Your internal bleeding is worsening, and blood appears under the skin as black splotches, hence the term Black Death. The doctor has done all he can to help. Your organs are shutting down, and not even the chicken wants you now. Thanks for watching. If you want to hear me say offensive things about other subjects, make sure you like and subscribe.